And I never went away from a conversation with Andrew without being changed. It's like, as got older and drifted apart, those conversations weren't as frequent, or by no means any less relevant. I remember we had a conversation one time. He wanted to show me his beaker costume. There's one thing Andrew was always right about. It was the best Muppet. And we talked about drifting apart a little bit. And it was just basically, I can't remember his exact words, but it was, you have people in your life and enjoy them while they're there. Well, Meredith may be my smartest friend. I think that Andrew was probably the most caring. I'm not a religious person, but I have something that gets me through life, and it's leave the world a better place than the way you found it. I think in so many ways, Andrew did that. I wrote more, but that's all I got.
I met Andrew when I was knee high. We met in unusual circumstances. We weren't exactly friends at first. And my mom told me, you don't need to be a bully and be mean to him. And he's a cool guy, get to know him. I shouldn't bully anybody, obviously. But we did. He was the only guy who would come to my birthdays. I was born on Christmas, so it's a part of the appointment to make it. And I remember he had a guitar. I idolized Andrew. And I went home and told my mom one day, I want a guitar. Got one for Christmas or birthday, whichever you want to call it. But he liked formalism. I remember he always had the fancy pens, the uniballs, and he always, don't borrow, if you borrow it, make sure you give it back. He was really particular, but I always tried to mimic that. Anyway, I feel like I never really looked at it that way, but I have kind of idolized him more than I ever knew, just for the fact that I still, try to paint and draw and be creative, but never would I have ever been that way without him. My family's not the most creative people, and we all struggle with addictions with alcohol and drugs. I personally have, not at the moment, but just 1 year doing meth, which is not a good one, but people that were real close to me never knew. I hid it. My girlfriend lived with me, and we dated 8 years, didn't know, I was not a good way to do it. You should speak out and get help. That's it. Never try to carry the burden alone. But anyway, I'm going to tell a funny story. It had nothing to do with me. I wasn't there. It's something that I've always found funny. And it's when I hear commercials, but it was Folgers coffee. And someone in the back, he brought you or Robert a cup of coffee, and it had something green floating in it. And I don't know why it's always touched me, but he said, well, best part of waking up is soldiers in your cup. Put a little green toy soldier and
I feel like I kind of got spoiled. I had all the best memories with Andrew. Never fought, never anything like that, so I just kind of share a few of those. We actually met when I was 16. I actually grew up in Yukon, and we were visiting a friend of mine and going on Main Street, and we saw this flyer. I had this boyfriend at the time, and we saw this flyer about a band that wanted a singer. And he was just like, oh yeah, I want to do that. And so we drive down to Elena, and we go to visit this group of guys, and they all hit it off, so he's going to join the band. And I probably think he was in the band for like 3 months. It was Andrew and Taylor and Kaylin and hanging out in the basement and playing music. And I think it was only a couple of months, and then the boyfriend and I broke up, and the boyfriend quit the band and everything like that. But I stayed friends with Andrew and Taylor and all of them. And he's just one of those guys that even though the initial connection, the reason we met in the first place was gone, you had to stay friends with him. So we were friends on and off throughout high school and the Waffle House visits and just hanging out in the basement, watching them play music and going to the random duck pond, watching other bands play, and just so many random things that we did. But there were two main things that happened like later on in life. One was I had my 18th birthday party with my best friend. She threw me this party, and one of Taylor's bands played at my party, and Andrew came, and he gave me this card. It was supposed to be kind of like an I know your birthday card, but it was the best birthday present ever. It was a Picasso painting on the outside, and the inside was like a blank card, so you could fill in whatever you wanted to. And he drew all over it this crazy story about unicorns having to capture the treasured waffle or something like that. And I really liked the artwork on it, and it had a really good story behind it, and so it's still on my bookshelf. And I'd actually just moved, and I was unpacking all of my stuff when I saw that. And it was made me think of him. It was actually like a week and a half ago, or like 2 weeks ago. It was just before. But it's just one of those things that he'll always, just random memories of sitting in a car listening to music, or I don't know, just anything like that. He'll always stay with you. But the last thing was we had this party in college. It was a Halloween party. And it was one of those, this was college, everybody kind of knew each other or a friend of a friend, so you kind of see all the same people. And he didn't know anybody, but he still came and visited us. That was my friend Barry and I. And he came dressed up as this crazy bumblebee. It was ridiculous, he had this giant head thing on. And for weeks and months after, because some of these people I would only see at parties, they would be like, oh yeah, your Halloween party was great, man, that bumblebee guy was awesome. I mean, forever. And it was just what he did. He left that lasting impression. You never forgot him, and he always stayed with you, so. That's right.
I'm very rarely impressed with people when I first meet them. It's hard. I'm not very good at connecting. At least on the very first, I think it was something like Andrew was that human being. I think it was for all of us. Met him at a party. He was dead, but when I first met him, I was struck by his eye contact. He's someone we just had mesmerizing eyes. I think that's something we remember all about him. And just in that moment, I knew that this was someone who truly impacted the world around me, just impacted me just in that moment. Andrew was an artist. He created things. He created new things. He created things that we all enjoy. And I think that was the thing that truly struck me about any art I saw from him, any music I heard from him was new and original and brilliant in ways that I couldn't even possibly conceive of. I'd like to think that that's the enduring legacy of as a human being in the world. He's someone who created. It's hard to create. Someone who tries to create, tries to create through writing. It's hard to create. It's hard to live in that space of ambiguity for so long. But Andrew thrived there. Andrew lived there. Andrew worked there. Andrew loved there. And I think that's really what the enduring legacy is. That love. That was his canvas. You can see that on all of us here today. We are Andrew's masterpiece. This wonderful, beautiful connection that he wove through all of us. This thing that he created that exists and will never stop existing. It's something that I felt when I walked in this room. I see it in all of your faces. I heard it in all my words, and I cannot tell you how impactful it is to me. Andrew is, I say that again, Andrew is magic. He was someone who created, someone who did things in different ways, and I cannot tell you how much I wish I could have gotten to know him a little bit more. I think anyone of us can say that one more conversation with him was just never enough. Thank you.
I'm Andrew's aunt, as Sarah said. We have so many fond memories of the times he married a for one. We'd come to Austin, and my summer vacation would be taking a week off and showing him around town. Anyone who knows my dad, he instilled a deep spiritual foundation to our family. Catholicism. Every Sunday you weren't at church with him. Woe to you for the rest of the week. Another week to redeem yourself and go. And as Sarah mentioned, Andrew came down at Thanksgiving one year. Andrew's adopted. And Andrew was questioning his faith and really upset. Sophie, my youngest, she's like, how can he question if there's a God or not? Why? What is he questioning? It's so evident. And we've lost many people. And we know that they're out there. My mom, when she passed away, she came to Sarah that night. Told her she'd always love her and be there for her. My dad hasn't come to me. He's come to my husband. Steve had a dream, and in the dream he went out and he opened a video and he put in the VHS, or very old school. He and my dad are having the conversation in the dream, and he's like, Dad, look, we had another baby since you're gone. He's like, yeah, we know, Sophie. And so my dad is talking to Steve in this dream. And we're always looking for signs. So, I don't know, it wasn't 105 degrees, it was probably 95 degrees last weekend. And we're trying to process everything, and we go to Andrew's storage unit. It's probably got bags of his grandma's sweaters in the storage unit. We open it up and we're just like looking at it. And then all of a sudden, Mike and Angela and Bob have to go to the bathroom and get some water. Sarah and Meredith are on their way over. That's okay, I'll wait here. Oh, it's fine, it's totally fine. So I'm just kind of looking at this storage unit and I'm thinking, well, so there's a little tin car that he has. Probably are in here, I'll open it up. And I opened it up and there's every fortune cookie. Fortune cookie. Fortune, from the fortune cookie he's ever had. And he must really like Chinese food. Because I'm not saying 100, I'm saying 1,000 fortune cookies. I opened it up, all these thousands of fortunes, and I can only see one that's visible to me. And I'm like, oh, let's take a picture. Gotta capture this because no one's gonna believe that this is the fortune that I can read. And it says, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Now, I've never seen a Bible verse on a fortune. Say, your lucky number is, or. And I'm like, all right, I got my sign. That's Andrew telling us, it's God telling us that he's okay, that he's resting now, and that, as Joyce said, we'll be able to feel him and we'll reunite someday.
I'm Mary Claire's husband, Mary Claire, and Bob and Mike. Mary Claire, Bob, and Mike are all brother and sister. I know right now Andrew is in all his glory, seeing how you all came out for him. And it seems like yesterday. I was in my 20s too, now past 60. So I feel like I can relate. I think most older people, we can relate to where you're at in your 20s. We're unsettled still sometimes. I know I was, and I know that had it been for the grace of God, things could have went really wrong in my life. Maybe not through the same things with Andrew, but there was alcohol problems for sure. But anyway, I'd like to, with Andrew and me, it's always been about the music, pretty much. I'd like to pick up where his cousin left off. I used to kid Andrew too about the Fender guitars. I myself was a Gibson man. When Andrew first ordered that guitar, he told me what he was going to get, and I said, Andrew, why didn't you order a Les Paul for God's sake? Some of us musicians will understand. And I said, or maybe a 335 hollow body, you get a much better sound. And he goes, well, I says, well, I know why you got that blonde one. You like, because Jimi Hendrix had a blonde Fender Stratocaster. So I always loved this guitar. I just was the same way. I ragged on it. Because I myself have a Fender Strat and a Telecaster and Fender amps. Figured to cover all the bases along with the Gibson. He was so damn fun, that kid. And even later in life, I never felt like I had to sugarcoat anything with Andrew. Because I felt that he was such a good friend of mine, even as a young kid, because of his maturity level. And artists are like that. Artists are very mature people. And they're very destructive people. And the pendulum just swings both ways. But we loved to go to the music stores when we could. And when he come to Austin, we'd go to the vintage guitar shops and look at stuff. And I don't have a whole lot of people that have that interest. You know, my kids really don't like it. I mean, if I say to them, hey, let's stop at the guitar store, I mean, that's torture. You know. But Andrew came to town and even Bob. And by the way, Bob was the first hippie with long hair and an electric guitar in his hand, and we actually got pictures to prove it. I mean, when I saw these old pictures of Bob, I says, geez, that's rock and roll right there. But we just had so much damn fun throughout our lives. One of my earliest memories when he was real little, maybe he's about 2.5, 3 years old. Tom and Marilyn lived in a house on Tulsa Street. And I used to make jokes about the construction of this house because I'm a plumber, so I see framing and 2x4s and how walls are built and all that. And I never saw a house where the walls were metal studs, but they were on the side, so they were only 1.5 inches thick. I mean, only nobody probably knew that in the family but me. But when Andrew was a little kid, there was a guest bedroom, and there was this trundle bed in there. We called it the trundle bed. Everybody in the family members had a little trundle bed. But I'd be laying on that trundle bed, and at 2.5 and 3, he was just a barrel of monkeys of fun. So I'd be laying on the bed, and he'd come to jump on me, and I'd pick him up, and I'd grab his shirt, and I'd grab him down and I would bash him into that wall. Not head first, but side first. And then the whole wall would rattle and wave. And then this one time, his mom Joy come, and I thought she was going to yell at me because I got her kid up over my head, bashing him into the wall as hard as I could. And she saw how he was just laughing his butt off. And so she just laughed and walked out. She didn't even say, hey, stop beating my kid up against the wall. But the last time I saw Andrew, and this kind of means a lot to me because we're from so different eras of time, where I loved his music. In fact, when I came up, he had given me 2 discs, and I'm ashamed to say, prior to coming up here, I only listened to one song, and I didn't listen to the other discs. But when I came up, I brought him with me, and I listened to him, and I told Mary Claire, I said, you know, that first song on there, that's something that Nirvana would have bought and put on his album, that one song. And all the songs were great. They were instrumental, like the guys were saying, they liked instrumental stuff. But because we're coming on the road trip, I had time to just listen and focus, no distractions. And I listened to that song several times. And while he was alive, I just didn't realize how great that song was. And I mean, it's so good that I'm gonna listen to it when I get home and learn how to play it. And I'm gonna learn the lyrics. And if I ever play out with my friends ever again, we're all getting old. But if I ever do, I'm gonna play that song and tell my friends my nephew wrote this. Or I don't know if he wrote it, but he definitely sang it. Probably was a combination of all his buddies writing this song. And the last time he was in Austin, he's getting ready to go back with Meredith. And maybe about 30 or 40 minutes before he's getting ready to hit the road, he says, he comes in where I'm sitting in the living room, he goes, hey, you want to go back and play a blues song? Because he knew I liked the blues because I'm old, so I like the old blues. You know, Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin. People probably still like that stuff, but you know, that in our days when we were young, that's our stuff we liked. And I like the blues, even though a lot of people think it's slow, it drags, they don't like, but I still love the blues. And my Fender is actually a Stevie Ray Vaughan Stratocaster. I bought it when Stevie Ray Vaughan passed away in 1990. They had those, they issued guitars with the SRB on them, but music guys probably seen those things. But Andrew loved that guitar because it was a Fender. So when he was there, I said, yeah, sure, let's go. Because he's never asked me to play the blues with him, never. That was the only time ever. I used to try to force it down his throat because that's all I could play. I wasn't a good lead player like him. I could play rhythm. You know, I wasn't lead. I never was a good lead player. Couldn't, you know, that's the artistic thing comes out of you. And I'm a construction guy, so I could play rhythm okay, but not the lead. So I was kind of taken back because that wasn't his style. Andrew, I don't think particularly liked the blues. He would play it because it's easy to play lead to. But we sat and I said, okay. So he played the Strat, the SRB, and I played my hollow body. I'm pretty sure it was a hollow body. And we must have played the old Robert Johnson standard, Ramblin' on My Mind, I think it was called. It's this old Robert Johnson song, written back in the 30s or something. And of course, we played it for like 30 minutes. It was like playing Sweet Home Alabama for half an hour, you know. And so that was my last memory. We played this song, and then they had to hit the road into Meredith, and at the time I didn't know that was going to be it. But I just, Andrew right now would be looking at everybody saying, God, how eloquent. Everybody came up here and spoke of him. Bob, Chris, God, you guys could be the next senators or Congress or something. And Joy, that was your Joy. You did a beautiful job for Andrew up here. He just so proud of you. And all his friends, everybody that came up here today, aunts, cousins. What kept going through my mind because Andrew was, you know, he was quite a card, ornery kid, but he was a card. He was funny. I could just hear him say, "Hey, Stevie, you see how many people came up and talked good about me there? Huh? See that?" I could just hear him saying that. So I just take comfort in knowing that there's some wonderful, beautiful people that were able to greet him on the other side, between his aunt, his grandparents, his great-grandparents. So we know he's in good hands. And, you know, we all have to pass at some point. And I know in my heart that God said, come on, son, sit by me. We're going to talk it all over now. Like y'all say, he's not in pain, but he'll still be with us our whole life. We'll still be family. And anytime we're together, we'll be talking about him in passing. We'll say, remember this with Andrew, remember that. And there's so many stories. That kid was up for any kind of prank. You couldn't challenge him. You challenged him anything, he would do it. I said, you know, most people say, you got to go to bed by 10, 11 o'clock. So when they were in Texas, I'd say, I'll give $10 or $20 to the kid that could stay up all night, never go to sleep. And Andrew would literally win and video himself filming his watch at 6:51. It's 6:51 in the morning, and I think I won. Because Andrew, or Meredith and Sarah were sleeping on the couch, on the floor. And he was that kind of a kid. I mean, not only did he win, he videoed it, and he won. And challenge him, say, hey, Andrew, I'll give you $20 if you can find me within 5 minutes. I'm going to go hide in the Walmart. Within 5 minutes, you got to find. If you don't get me in 5 minutes, you don't get the money. You go hide in Walmart. He hunted you down in 30 seconds. And And you couldn't find somebody in the Walmart if you knew what aisle they were in 30 seconds. But he would do it. So we have just beautiful memories, the family. And I know, like I said before, he's so grateful of all the beautiful words. Because when it's coming from your heart, I guess it's a lot easier. Nobody really is comfortable getting out in front of people speaking. But when it's somebody that's so special, a family member, and it comes from your heart, it flows, and it's easier to do. And I think that he would say, when this is all over, let's go party down, have some fun. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we're gonna wrap this up, and I want to thank everybody for making this a truly wonderful memorial service. Very, very fitting for Andrew. Meredith is she's got some music picked out that we'll close with. It's some of Andrew's music. The last thing I want to share here is, it's a poem that Andrew loved poetry, and he had a book of poetry by a famous German poet named Rainer Maria Rilke. And the name of the poem is Gravity's Law. And when the family was looking through Andrew's stuff, this poem had been marked up in the columns, and it clearly meant a lot to him, and it seemed like a fitting close. How surely gravity's law, strong as an ocean current, takes hold of even the strongest thing and pulls it toward the heart of the world. Each thing, each stone, blossom, child is held in place. Only we, in our arrogance, push out beyond what we belong to for some empty freedom. If we surrendered to Earth's intelligence, we could rise up, rooted like trees. Instead, we entangle ourselves in knots of our own making and struggle, lonely and confused. So, like children, we begin again to learn from the things, because they're in God's heart. They've never left Him. This is what the things can teach us: to fall, patiently to trust our heaviness. Even a bird has to do that before he can fly.
Yes, it will. long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Yes, it will.
How bad is it?